1984 is a dystopian novel written by George Orwell, published in 1949. It depicts a totalitarian regime led by the party, headed by the enigmatic figure known as Big Brother. The novel is set in a fictional future world of Oceania, a superstate ruled by the party, which exercises absolute control over its citizens. The story primarily takes place in London, the capital of Oceania. The protagonist, Winston Smith, is a low-ranking member of the party who works at the Ministry of Truth. He secretly harbors rebellious thoughts against the oppressive regime and dreams of overthrowing it. Oceania is a surveillance state where citizens are constantly monitored by the thought police. The party controls all aspects of life, including history, language, and even thoughts through the use of propaganda and newspeak, a language designed to eliminate unorthodox thoughts. Winston meets Julia, a fellow party member with whom he begins an illicit affair. Together, they engage in acts of rebellion against the party, such as meeting in secret and expressing forbidden thoughts. Winston and Julia join the Brotherhood, an underground resistance movement dedicated to overthrowing the party. However, their rebellion is short-lived as they are eventually captured by the thought police, who had been monitoring them all along. Winston's trusted ally, O'Brien, is revealed to be a high-ranking member of the party and orchestrates their capture. Winston is taken to the Ministry of Love, where he undergoes brutal torture and brainwashing in Room 101, a chamber designed to exploit individuals' deepest fears. Through psychological manipulation and physical torture, Winston is forced to betray Julia and confess his loyalty to Big Brother. Winston is broken mentally and emotionally, and he eventually comes to accept the party's version of reality completely. He no longer harbors rebellious thoughts and becomes an obedient servant of the regime. The novel ends with Winston's complete submission to the party, as he embraces the doctrine of doublethink and declares his love for Big Brother. He is released back into society, a broken man devoid of any sense of individuality or resistance. There are several parallels between today's political and media environment and the dystopian reality depicted in George Orwell's 1984. Surveillance and privacy concerns. In 1984, the party exercises pervasive surveillance over its citizens through telescreens and the thought police. Similarly, in modern society, there are concerns about government surveillance programs, data collection by tech companies, and the erosion of privacy rights, particularly in the digital age. Manipulation of truth and disinformation. The party in 1984 controls reality through the manipulation of information and propaganda. Similarly, in today's world, there are concerns about the spread of disinformation, fake news, and the manipulation of public opinion through media outlets and social media platforms. Authoritarianism and authoritarian tendencies. The authoritarian regime of the party in 1984 bears resemblance to authoritarian tendencies observed in some contemporary political leaders and regimes. There are concerns about the concentration of power, erosion of democratic norms, and the rise of populist leaders who seek to undermine institutions and suppress dissent. Language and thought control. In 1984, the party uses newspeak to control thought and limit freedom of expression. Similarly, in modern society, there are debates about political correctness, language policing, and attempts to control discourse through censorship and speech codes. Cult of personality and hero worship. The figure of Big Brother in 1984 represents a cult of personality and hero worship, where the leader is revered and unquestioningly obeyed by the populace. Similarly, in contemporary politics, there are instances of leaders cultivating a cult-like following and presenting themselves as saviors or strongmen. Normalization of surveillance and authoritarian practices. In 1984, the pervasive surveillance and authoritarian practices of the party become normalized over time, with citizens accepting them as necessary for security and stability. Similarly, in today's world, there is a danger of complacency and normalization of erosion of civil liberties and democratic norms in the name of security or stability. Overall, While the world of 1984 may seem extreme and dystopian, there are certainly elements of its depiction that resonate with contemporary political and media environments. These parallels serve as a reminder to remain vigilant and critical of threats to individual freedom and truth in society.